You're kidding. Or maybe I can slip away. No, I just can't. Well, I've got these quarterly reports to do and the Brennan presentations next week. Now Stevens is pushing this new software line on us. I just don't have the time. I know, hon. I know. Well, kiss the kids for me, okay? I'll be there as soon as I can.
Try it, Ted. It'll give those sorry reports of yours some real spit and polish.
It's great, Ted. I know you'll like it. Wingz is so user-friendly.
It's really, really powerful. Really.
Wingz. Well, let's see what they mean by the first graphic spreadsheet.
The first graphic spreadsheet. Spit and polish, user-friendly, what you've always wanted. Wingz software. Now, for the first time, numbers, words, graphs, and graphic images can come together in one window, on one page, with one product, and then print to a page-perfect presentation. Spreadsheet capabilities you've only dreamed of before are now a reality. This is Wingz. And now it's time to learn how to use it. During the next few minutes, we'll explore some of the basic features of Wingz. You'll learn how to create an interactive worksheet, how to enhance it with dynamic graphics, illuminate it with text, and turn it into a persuasive presentation. You'll also discover something else, that for all its power and advanced capabilities, Wingz is surprisingly easy to use, even if you're inexperienced with a Macintosh.
Oh boy.
Let's get started. For this demonstration, we'll be using a Macintosh 2 with a hard disk drive. But whatever Macintosh system you're using, Mac 2, SE, or Mac Plus, hard disk or dual floppy, be sure to make a working copy of your Wingz system disk before you use the program. That way, you can keep the original disks stored safely in their package. For a step-by-step guide on Wingz installation, consult Wingz Starts Here, your Wingz Startup Guide. While watching this demonstration, keep your Wingz User's Guide handy. Then stop the tape when you want to review what we've done, or refer to the guide for details. Welcome to Wingz, the fastest, most powerful spreadsheet ever developed for a microcomputer. At the top of the screen is the Wingz menu bar. It gives you quick, easy access to hundreds of Wingz commands. Notice that when you drag the mouse to a menu item tagged with one of these small arrows, a related submenu appears. Now, let's take a tour of the worksheet. At the heart of Wingz is an enormous spreadsheet, far bigger than any yet developed. To show you how big, let's click on this navigator arrow to get to the bottom row of the spreadsheet, row 32,768. The navigator arrow on the right will take us to the last column, column AVLH. To translate that into a numeric heading, go to the menu and under Window, select Column Heading and pick the second submenu option. Now we see that column AVLH is actually column 32,768. 32,768 rows by the same number of columns is more than 1 billion spreadsheet cells. Of course, you'll never have 1 billion cells of information, but Wingz puts no artificial limits on the size or shape of your worksheet.
Good.
We'll return to the menu now and change our column headings back to letters. To get back to the beginning of the worksheet, we can use these scroll boxes. Let's travel north, then west. Notice how this locator box tells us where we are on the worksheet. Now we're back to where we started. Take a look at these icons to the left of the worksheet. This is the Wingz Toolbox. During the course of this demonstration, we'll see many of these tools in use. Whether you're drawing, creating graphs, or manipulating objects on the worksheet, you need to use the right tool for the job. This is called the Worksheet tool. It's used to enter data into a cell or to highlight a range of cells that you want to graph. You'll see this as we create a worksheet. Let's begin by giving our worksheet a title, and then create some labels to identify the data we plan to enter. Using the Worksheet tool, I'll activate cell A1 by clicking it once. Notice that this area always identifies which cell you're working in, using what is known as the cell reference or address. We'll call our worksheet Regional Sales. The information appears here in the entry bar as we type it. If you make a mistake while typing, you can use the Delete key to back up, or you can click on the X icon to completely erase the information from the entry bar. When you've finished, you can enter the title into cell A1 by hitting Return on the keyboard, by clicking on the checkmark icon here, or by clicking on the cell itself. Now let's enter our labels. We'll type in our sales regions. And let's arrange our data by quarters. Watch this shortcut. With cell B1 active, highlight the next 3 cells across, like so. Then, from the Sheet menu, choose the Fill command. See what happens? Finally, let's move down to cell A6 and label the row where we plan to show our quarterly totals. Now, we'll quickly type in a series of numbers representing our sales figures for each region. Try this. When entering a range of data, highlight the entire range first. That way, you can use the Return key to enter each number into the next cell in the range. Your hands never have to leave the keyboard. To find totals for each of these columns, we'll use one of Wingz' built-in functions. Click the first cell in the totals range, making it active. Now move up to the Go menu and choose the Paste Formula command. Wingz has over 140 predefined functions, including business, scientific, and statistical functions. And unlike other software products, Wingz also lets you define your own custom functions. In the function category labeled Statistical, we'll find the function labeled Sum, used for adding a group of numbers. Double-click it like this, and the function appears in the entry bar. The information appearing in parentheses is called the argument. It represents the specific worksheet information on which our function will operate. To enter a range of worksheet data as our argument, we simply click and drag over the range we want to be summed. Notice how the argument changes to reflect the cell range even as we define it. This figure is called the range reference. It shows the first and last cell addresses in the range. Click on the checkmark icon or hit Return on your keyboard, and the results of your formula are displayed in the totals cell. It's that easy.
Not bad.
Getting totals for each of the other quarters is even easier. With cell B6 active, that's the cell containing our sum formula, highlight the cells that will show the totals for each of the other quarters. Then, from the Edit menu, choose the Copy Right command. This copies the sum formula into each of the highlighted cells, automatically adjusting the range references for each column. Here's one more thing about formulas. You can add explanatory information to a formula in a cell by using these squiggle brackets. Move the cursor back to the entry bar and click behind the formula to set an insertion point. Wingz knows that these brackets contain your own personal notes and not part of the formula. If your formula requires a lot of explanation, that's not a problem either. You can use these scroll arrows to move through especially large entries. Click on the checkmark icon to attach the annotation to your cell formula. Click in an empty cell, and when we click in our cell again, there it is. Since this is a business spreadsheet, let's format the numbers to look like dollar amounts. First, we'll highlight the range of numbers we want to format. In this case, all of them. From the Format menu, we'll choose Number, and from the submenu, we'll choose Currency. Since we're dealing with whole numbers, let's hide these trailing zeros with another trip to the Format menu to choose the Precision command. We'll choose a precision of 0 and click OK. The Wingz Format menu is rich with options that go far beyond decimals and dollar signs. As a graphic spreadsheet, Wingz lets you control the look of virtually everything on your worksheet. Let's add some emphasis to our title by changing its style and giving it some color. We highlight the cell containing the title, and then from the Format menu, choose the Font option. Wingz lets you use as many different fonts on your worksheet as you have installed in your Macintosh. Let's add some color to the title by choosing from the Color submenu. And we can enlarge the title by choosing from the Size submenu. Oops. Well, what do we do when our reformatted information looks too large for its space on the worksheet? We simply use the Worksheet tool to resize our rows and columns. Notice how the cursor automatically splits when we move it over a row or column heading. By holding down the mouse button and dragging, we can give our data as much space as it needs to achieve the look we want. This would be a good time to stop the tape and take a moment to experiment with Wingz formatting options on your computer. For more information about formatting a worksheet, entering data, and using formulas, consult your Wingz User's Guide. By the way, if you ever get lost while using the Wingz program, help is as close as the Wingz menu bar. Wingz features an extensive online help system. You'll find it in the Window menu under Help window. The Wingz Help window lets you search for information by topic or by index keyword. Clicking on this box containing the current help topic brings up a list of related help topics. And help can be displayed on many commands just by choosing them from the menu while the help window is active. You can even open multiple help windows and have each display different information. To view all of the open windows at once, go to the Window menu and choose the Arrange Windows command. To close the help windows, click on the respective close boxes. And then click on the Zoom box to expand your worksheet to refill the entire screen. Now, let's get back to our worksheet. With our labels in place and our data formatted, we're ready to make a graph. We'll begin by highlighting the data we want to use for our graph. Notice that we are including our title and labels. Now, select the Chart tool from the Wingz toolbox. Move back to the worksheet, hold down the mouse button, and drag a frame in which your graph will appear. You can make this frame as large or as small as you want. When you release the mouse button, presto, your first graph appears instantly. The small white boxes along the edge of the graph tell us that the graph is active. We can resize an active graph by clicking on one of these little handles and dragging. By clicking and dragging within the border, we can even pick up the entire graph and move it anywhere we like on the worksheet. But this is only the beginning of Wingz graphing capabilities. By moving up to the Graph menu and holding the mouse button down over the Gallery command, we can see the 20 graph and chart types available in Wingz. Wingz has a wide variety of business, scientific, and engineering graphs and charts. And three-dimensional graphs are a Wingz specialty. Let's take a closer look. To change the graph to, say, a 3D bar graph, simply choose the item labeled 3D bar from the submenu, release the mouse button, and, as simple as that, your data is displayed in 3 dimensions. Another impressive feature of Wingz is its ability to rotate, elevate, and change the perspective of a 3-dimensional graph. Go to the menu and select Graph 3D Info View. We can affect the rotation and elevation of our graph by moving these slide bars. The changes are shown in the sample graph here. Clever, huh? To change the perspective, raise or lower the number you see here. The lower the number, the greater the distortion, sort of like a camera lens. For small changes, use these arrows. For larger changes, use the cursor to highlight the number and type in your change. Click OK and see the difference. Since our graph is dynamically linked to the worksheet data used to create it, we can change a number on the worksheet and see the change reflected in the graph instantly and automatically. Perfect for what-if scenarios. Watch how the back red bar changes when we enter a new number for first quarter sales. If you would like, take a moment to explore some of the various graph options available through the Gallery command. Remember, your graph must be active before you can change it. Let's go back to a 2-dimensional bar graph for a moment. When we created our graph, we included its title and labels. Now you'll see how quickly and easily we can add additional labeling information to the graph. To add a footnote, simply click in a cell. Type your information and click in the cell again to accept the entry. Then hold down the Command key on your keyboard and click on the graph. Move up to the menu and choose Graph, Footnote, Footnote Range. That's all there is to it. Adding a title to a graph axis is just as easy. Again, click on a cell. For this demonstration, we're selecting a cell in a visible area. When you're designing a graph, you'll want to put your information in a cell that can't be seen. Now type in a title and click on this cell again. Then hold down the Command key and click on the axis you want to name. Notice how these round handles appear, indicating that the axis has been selected. Now, moving up to the Graph menu, choose the Axes command, and then choose Title Range from the submenu. You can easily rotate an axis title by, again, selecting the axis if it's not already selected, choosing Axes from the Graph menu, and then choosing Rotate Title from the submenu. You also have the ability to move your graph title, footnote, or legend. Just choose the appropriate category from the graph menu and then choose a location. One of the most frequently used business charts is the pie chart. Let's take a minute to look at some of the options that Wingz gives you for working with pies. Begin by building a chart of sales for the North region. Now, turn it into a three-dimensional pie chart. To call attention to a particular quarter, we can explode that slice in each pie. Select the quarter to be exploded by clicking on its color key in the legend. You can explode multiple slices by holding down the Command key while clicking in the legend. Now move up to the Graph menu, choose the Series command, and then choose Explode from the submenu. To add a label to a slice, click on the color key for the slice you want to label. Remember, to select multiple color keys, you have to hold down the Command key while clicking. Now choose Graph, Series, Label. You have a series of options for where you want the label to appear in relation to the slice. We'll place ours inside the slice. And what type of label you wish to use. We'll use a percentage label. Click OK, and there is your label. We have a number of formatting options available for our graphs and charts, just as we did with our worksheet data. To begin, use the Object tool to make your graph active if it isn't already. And remember, you can always tell if a graph is active by looking for the small white handles around its edges. Let's add some background color to this graph. Moving up to our now familiar Format menu, we choose the Fill command. As you can see, we have a variety of colors and patterns available. In fact, if you don't like any of these colors, simply click in this center area and Wingz will let you mix your own colors from a palette of 16 million choices. With that many choices, you can name a color after yourself. In addition to adding a color to our graph background, let's throw in a pattern. This looks nice. Click OK and see what a dramatic difference a little color can make? We can also change the border style of our graph. Choose the Border command again from the Format menu. Let's soften the look of our graph by rounding its corners. We can see what we're doing over here. And then, to create the illusion that it's floating above the worksheet, let's add a 3D drop shadow. Notice that we can even lengthen the shadow by increasing the amount of shadow offset. When you like what you see, click OK. Now that we've discovered a whole new group of formatting options, take a little more time to experiment. Wingz makes it easy for you to learn by doing. Each graphic object in Wingz is treated as an individual layer, so you can shuffle objects almost as though they were a stack of cards. Just go to the Graph menu and select Send to Back, and the chart we made earlier reappears. Since we won't be using this chart anymore, let's activate it and remove it by hitting the Delete key. Another unique feature of Wingz is its ability to place resizable word processing windows, known as text fields, anywhere on the worksheet. Begin by clicking on this tool, referred to as the Text tool. Then, as we did when we created our graph, hold down the mouse button while dragging the frame that defines the size of our text field. Again, you can make this frame as large or as small as you want. Release the mouse button and the text field appears. Notice the blinking cursor? That indicates that you are ready to enter text. What shall we say? Fourth quarter sales comprised 19% of total revenues for the year. Okay. Wingz has automatic word wrap. That means that your text arranges itself to fit within the field, no matter what size it is. In fact, by clicking on one of the small white handles that outline the edge of the field, you can resize text fields just as you did with graphs. And as the text field changes size, you see the text automatically adjusting to fit. You have many of the same options within this text field that you have with most word processors, such as setting margins, tabs, and so on. To make these adjustments, go to the Format menu and choose the Field Info command. To set new margins, tabs, or indents, adjust the numbers that appear in these boxes. Choose the amount of line spacing you want over here. To display a title for our text field, we just type something in this space. You can even add a scroll bar to the text field by clicking in this box. Scroll bars are useful when you need to present a large amount of text, but don't want to use a text field that fills the entire display. Like everything else we've seen in Wingz, text fields can be customized with a whole array of formatting options. We can format the text inside the field, and we can format the field itself. Fields are formatted in much the same fashion as graphs. You can use the Fill command from the Format menu to add color and pattern to the text field, and use the Border command to alter the frame or add a shadow. To reformat the text inside a field, hold down the mouse button while dragging the cursor over the text you want to change. Text attributes can be changed on even a single character. Then move up to the Format menu, where you can now select from the entire array of Macintosh font options, including style, size, and color. To change the alignment of text within a text field, choose the Align command from the Format menu, and then make your selection. One of the most common uses for a text field is in the annotation of a graph or chart. Drawing an arrow between the information in a text field and a corresponding graph is an easy way to make the connection. Let's try it. First, click on the icon in the Wingz toolbox that represents the line tool. Now, just as you would with any drawing package, hold down the mouse button to draw your line. Once again, notice the white handles that appear along the line, indicating that the line is active. So you can pick up the line and move it, or change how it looks. Move up to the Wingz Format menu and choose the Line command. Is this beginning to look familiar? It should, since many of the options we've used for graphs and text fields can be used to format the shapes we draw with Wingz. To add an arrowhead to our newly created line, click on a choice in the box labeled Arrow. We'll place an arrowhead at the end of our line. And while we're at it, let's make the line a little wider. Look at how our changes are reflected in this sample. Now click OK. We're almost ready to print out our worksheet. But before we do, let's take just a moment to talk about an important part of the Wingz package, HyperScript. It's a powerful application programming language. Excuse me, did some of you beginners just say programming language? Huh? Well, give me a minute to change your mind. HyperScript is as logical and easy to use as everything else in Wingz. HyperScript uses normal English language phrases to let you do hundreds of different things. It can be used for just about anything, from modifying the Wingz menus and dialog boxes to designing a completely customized program. In this tape, we'll talk about just one of the many methods for using the HyperScript language. We're going to create a button to execute a HyperScript command. Begin by clicking on the Button tool found in the Wingz toolbox. Now, just as we did with our text field a moment ago, place your button somewhere on the worksheet. Make it any size you want. And just as if it were a mechanical button, our button can perform a specific action when it's pushed. But first, we have to tell it what to do using a script. The easiest way to create a script is to let Wingz write it for you, using what is known as the Learn mode. The Wingz Learn mode works as a kind of electronic note-taker, watching everything you do with the program and writing it down in script form. We'll use the Learn mode to write a script for turning our current graph into another graph type. Start by going to the Script menu and choosing the Button Script command. This opens a blank page onto which our script will be entered. In order for us to watch the script being created and use the worksheet at the same time, go to the Window menu and select the Arrange Windows command. As we saw when we discussed the online help system, this command allows us to view all of our open windows at once. Let's activate the Learn mode. Just move up to the Script menu and choose the Learn command. Anything that we do on the worksheet now will be reflected as a script in the Script window. Now, click in the Worksheet window to make it active. Click on the graph, and here's the first line of our script. It tells us we have selected our graph and identifies it with this object number. As you create graphic objects, Wingz automatically assigns each one a unique number. That comes in handy when we're manipulating objects through scripts. Now let's move up to the Graph Gallery command and choose a graph option. How about a 3D layer? Our worksheet graph changes to a 3D layer graph, and our second line of script appears. As you can see, HyperScript is much easier to understand than the cryptic jargon that makes up so many other programming languages. To end our script, let's deactivate the Learn mode. Move up to the Script menu and select Learn again. This turns the command off. Click in the Script window to reactivate it. Now we'll close the Script window by clicking in its Close box. At this point, Wingz prompts us to save our script. Click Yes. Now click on the Zoom box, bringing the worksheet back to its original screen size. To see the full effect of our script, let's change our graph back to a 3D pie, as it was before we started our scripting exercise. There's our pie. Now, click on the button, and congratulations, you're a programmer. You may want to call your button something more informative than New Button. To name your button, use the Object tool to select the button, and then go to the Format menu and choose Button Info. We'll call our button 3D Layer. That's easy enough. Now click OK. Before we print, let's go back to our 3D pie chart. Make the graph active and choose 3D pie from the Graph Gallery. To learn more about HyperScript, and there's much more to learn than we have time to cover, refer to your Wingz User's Guide and Wingz Reference Manual. At last, we're ready to print our worksheet. Unlike other spreadsheet packages which force you to print your data and graphics on separate pages, Wingz lets you print everything on your worksheet on a single page. And Wingz gives you the option of showing or hiding a variety of elements before you print. To prevent our cell grid from printing, for example, go to the Window menu, the Show submenu, and then choose Cell Grid. If you don't want to print out an entire worksheet's worth of data and graphics, you can select any small section of the worksheet to print by itself. Just highlight the area you want to be printed. Then, from the Sheet menu, choose the Report command, followed by the option labeled Report Print Range. We won't choose this option just now because we want to print our entire worksheet. Once you have your worksheet arranged to your liking, you can get a sneak preview of how it will look on the printed page. Go to the File menu and choose the Page Preview command. The first time you select this command, you'll see a dialog box showing you the current print settings. You have the option of changing any of these, or just click OK to accept them. And there is your worksheet, just as it will appear on the printed page. Now that we've looked at the page preview, let's make a few changes. Click Exit to return to the worksheet. To center your worksheet on the printed page, choose the Page Setup option from the File menu. Click here to center the worksheet. We can also click on this box to print our worksheet horizontally. Now click OK. To remove the report border, the black line that appears around your printed worksheet, move up to the Go menu. Choose Select, and then choose Report Border from the submenu. This selects the border. Now let's make it disappear. From the Format menu, choose the Border command. You'll notice that this is the same border dialog box that we used when talking about graphs and text fields. Click here to eliminate the report border. Now we're ready for another page preview to make sure we'll get what we want.
Looking good.
To print, choose the Print command from the File menu. Click OK, and in a moment, your sample worksheet will begin printing. There's a lot more to Wingz than I could show you in this brief introduction. But if you followed along up till now, you've got a good grasp of some of the basic features of Wingz and how they work. I hope you'll agree that Wingz is remarkably easy to use. Whether you're in a business or technical field, you'll find that Wingz will help you make your point with presentation graphics that are vivid, impressive, and persuasive. Now that we've spent some time together, don't be afraid of the Wingz User's Guide. Most of what Wingz can do is as easy as what you've seen today. Experiment a little bit. In no time, you'll be able to win them over with Wingz.
Lisa, it's amazing. Wingz, the software. It's fast, it's easy, it's beautiful. No, I'm through for the night. Oh, really? You saved some? Oh, that's great. I'm starved.